Coach, games like this, with two superstars, even though it's the end of the season, do you like these as a kind of a test of what your team has grown and see how far they come along as the end of last season?
Yeah, it's a great test for for our group, and it's the seriousness that you need to bring to this situation. Like, obviously, going to New York with 3 games to go in the season um, can be guys can go either way, but the seriousness that you need to bring to this situation, playing against two of the best players who've laced them up, um, is important for our group to feel that this point of the season and to continue to build on what we are kind of building. So yeah, it's very important, especially now.
Along the same lines, then, how much of it is not just the experience, which you've talked about a lot, but as almost a lesson to take into next year too?
Yeah, well, hopefully,
Where they are.
yeah, hopefully we won't have to deal. I mean, hopefully it won't be like, oh man, we learned a lesson tonight. Like, hopefully we'll be like, hey, we stood right up and took the challenge and did a great job, instead of Katie doing something crazy or Kyrie doing something crazy, which they are definitely capable of doing. Hopefully it'll be just the competitiveness of our group, which is very high, um, looking to match these guys and looking to not necessarily look up to them, but look at them as like, hey, we're in the league just like you are. And hopefully that's the lesson they learn. Maybe.
That's a lesson.
Yeah.
Like you just did something crazy and they lost.
Right. That was crazy.
Those two, as far as Kyrie and KD is concerned, two of the top 10, 15 times.
It was difficult. It is difficult. There's, as I continue to say, great player defense is the hardest thing to kind of prepare for and the hardest thing to scheme for, because they can just do things outside the box. They can do things outside of your normal base defense. So you have to be prepared to trap. You have to be prepared if you're going to trap. You got to be prepared to rotate. You got to be prepared to do things that are outside of what we've been doing all season, just because of the greatness of those guys. So we went over it yesterday. We went over it today. And we'll see how we do with it. It's a good test for us. But like last game, we had to double team Town some and didn't go so good. Our rotations weren't on point. And then Alpy decided he wanted to play one-on-one, which was great. And that's a building block and a good moment for our group. So, hopefully tonight our rotations and the special things that we need to do that those guys force you to do will be on point as well.
What does it say about someone like Jalen Green now as teams prepared to play you guys? He's going to be at the top of their scouting report.
Yeah.
Compared to maybe day one of the regular season where he was.
Yeah, it's you see it. You see people paying more attention to him. You see people going over more screens as opposed to under more screens. You see the attention that he draws, and we try to do things in a way where you don't exactly know when he's getting it, whether it's running an action to get to an action or playing just our pace game where we're 5 out and he gets it. So they can kind of load up on him because, early in the season, teams were not loading up on him, but teams are starting to load up on him a little bit, and he's still finding ways to score and make plays as well.
Finding ways to score. How much of that is his scoring lately? Not just making shots, which I guess you have to do too. But knowing where they are, how to get them.
Yeah, that's everything. He is comfortable. He knows where he can get his shots. He knows the situations that come along, he's seen before, as opposed to the situations early in the season he had never seen before. So when you see a pattern, and, you know, the way that we play is pattern based, when you see a pattern over and over and over again, you kind of see it develop before it happens. And he is starting to do that and find his, whether it's his catch and rip when he catches it on the wing, or his pull up when he is coming off a step up, or his dribble handoff game where he's turning the corner and now reading the defense. If they go under, this is what I do. If they go over, this is what I do. And I'm not sure that he was really thinking about how he was being guarded earlier in the season.
The only game you have both teams draft picks. Do you ever let that into your, not in terms of planning or strategy or anything, just the curiosity, do you enter into your thoughts? Do you think about, hey, this is, you can win something, you get a little prize?
I could never think that way. Maybe somebody could, maybe some coach could, but I'm sure there's people who do, but I can never coach that way. I'm concentrated on the game and the development of our group and the individuals that we have on the team. And I could never think that way. Yeah, I'm not wired that way.
But you talked about the tests earlier, but on the flip side of that, how good is to have a young team that, you know, in their mind, they're just thinking about going out there playing basketball. They're not thinking about they're playing against Kevin Durant or they're playing against Kyrie Irving.
I'm not sure that they're thinking that way. I think they are aware of who they're playing against, but they are young and they always attack. There's never a time where they're kind of like back on their heels, and for better or for worse at times. But yeah, it's great to have a group that's fearless, but at times you have to be measured and fearless at the same time. But I'll take fearless, and then we'll work on the measured stuff, and hopefully the experience that our group has this season will lead to fearlessness as well as like measured, cerebral play.
We'll take one on Zoom. Jackson Gatlin.
Hey, Steven.
Hey.
Coming into the season, felt like there was a lot of kind of organizational optimism about Josh Christopher and his ability to be a really strong defender at the NBA level. How have you felt that he has kind of grown and developed on that side of the floor as the season has gone on, specifically as a point of attack defender? And what are some of those conversations with him like about the way that he can impact the game on that side of the ball?
Yeah, those conversations are ongoing, obviously, and at times for a young guy, when especially like after last game when he had 30, the defense can be secondary, and for him it has to be at least equal. And I think he does do a good job of putting pressure on the basketball as the ball's coming up the floor, and using his gifts of quickness and strength and anticipation. But yeah, he I think with more experience, with his ability to kind of guard different people and going through those moments, he will become even better than he is right now. And you know, like I said, when you're 20 and you have the ability to score at times like he does, sometimes that's what you're concentrating on. But I still believe, and he knows, that he can be like a really, really good defender as well. So that would kind of fill in the circle of his game, where he is an attacker on the offensive end, making threes when he's wide open, and then really, really setting the tone on the defensive end. And I think I'm not sure he understands. Well, I won't say understands, but he can really, really influence the group with his ball pressure. And that's one of the things that I talk to him about, as far as, yeah, we want you to be a good defender, we want you to apply ball pressure, but that ball pressure can affect the rest of the group. And that's something that as you play more games and get more experience, you start to understand your importance as part of the whole instead of just my job.